What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Terence Crawford. Get this, Terence Crawford names the only man that could beat him. Okay. And he said himself has revealed who he believes is the only fighter that can beat him. And it's not Alvarez, it's not Jermell Charlo or rising welterweight star Jared Ennis. He said, quote, "A lot of people ask me, what do I have to do to win a fight? And I always say, just be myself. Because I honestly feel like I'm Terence Crawford. Can't nobody beat me unless I beat myself." Those are the words of Terence Crawford, and let me counterpunch. At somebody's pinnacle peak of their game, that's absolutely true. You know, when you're the best at this point of time, okay, because time changes everything, okay? The only person that can beat yourself is yourself, because, you know, if you stop training, if you stop doing the fundamentals, the things that you do to keep relevant, to keep your craft sharp, I think that will beat you, okay? Soul inactivity. And we go back in the career of Terence Crawford during the negotiations that failed last year and every year before that. But speaking of last year, Terence Crawford was in negotiations with Errol Spence, and it was supposed to have been for like December, right? And they literally negotiated through the whole year of 2022 to the point everybody was just getting sick of, like, okay, what's up? Like, what are y'all doing? Are y'all just sitting over? What are y'all doing? Because nothing was happening. Nothing was progressing, nothing. And then he receives a contract to fight next year. Well, by that time, he would have been out of the ring since the Sean Porter fight, okay? Because he beat Sean Porter in 2021. And the crazy thing about that fight, you know, to me, it looked like they were trying to age or just wait him out. You know what I mean? You know, you can wait a fighter out by them just getting old, you know, and boxing is one of those sports. You know, if you've taken damage in the first fighter, if you've been in this type of brawl and war with a fighter, you know, you might have some wear and tear. Okay. And I think that was one of the strategies, you know, putting this fight together. And I think for one, Al Heyman really didn't want to do that. And for two, I think Errol Spence wanted to fight, but I think he was really having faith in what the progress was with Al Heyman. But then knowing Al Heyman, he's like, okay, well, why don't we fight? Why don't we put you in there with Keith Thurman? And then meanwhile, we'll build Jared Ennis to be who Jared Ennis is supposed to be. And then, you know, and then we can have you fight him to see who's the baddest Billy Badass on this side of the street. And I think that's what Al Heyman really ultimately wanted to do by sending Terence Crawford that contract at that particular point in time, dismissing that $25 million apiece by the outside entities and all that stuff, because he knew it's like, well, look, I want control of this. If it's going to happen, it's going to be through me. And I don't want that fight to happen anytime soon. You know, I want that fight to happen next year, because the later it is in the mind of Al Heyman and others, you know, the better chances Errol Spence has to beat Terence Crawford. That's if Errol Spence is not too big and too badass for Terence Crawford anyway. But the whole problem is nobody really knew. Okay, it was too much of a risk, too much of a gamble. And then at that point, you're looking at like, okay, well, shit, a 50-50 fight, because that's why people wanted to watch a fight like that, because it involved so much intrigue on who would do what to who. Okay, so I think that was a strategy. And I think it was bad for Errol Spence not fighting. You know, but Terence Crawford, again, it was good for him to get that Avanesian fight simply to stay sharp. Get that bag, get that money too, because you need to get paid as well. You're a prize fighter. That's what prize fighters do. They get paid to fight. Okay? And that's what Terence Crawford did. And what did he receive in return? Hate. Ridicule. Okay? and it wasn't really fair. And that's all you've seen. You've seen trolling channels and people talking about Terence Crawford and then start talking about his skin color even. I'm like, what the hell does that got to do with anything, right? So they were bringing up things that probably they were letting the cat out of the bag on why they really didn't like Terence Crawford. Then it wasn't because of Al Heyman and Bob Arum or any of that stuff. It was because of some type of other things that didn't have anything to do with Terence Crawford's ability. Neither did Errol Spence, right? But I do believe Terence Crawford is the best in the world right now. I believe if Terence Crawford can comfortably make 168 and move like he can move at 147 or 154, I think he will beat Canelo Alvarez simply because he has what it takes to beat Canelo Alvarez. Now, the question would be, could he stop him? And if Terence Crawford, not only can he beat Canelo Alvarez, but stop Canelo Alvarez like something Oscar de la Hoya did to Julio Cesar Chavez back in the 90s a couple times, then he would be absolutely the best. He would be one of the best ever. He would be the new TBE. Okay? He would be the new TBE. You know, Floyd, Money Mayweather would just have to give that big-ass $1 million chain or whatever to Terence Crawford because he's done something. He's done exactly what he's done but did more. Okay? Because that's a big accomplishment, you know, especially fighting someone from that generation that his career stretched through the generations of the Floyds and the Pacquiaos and then the Crawfords, and then you lose to Crawford and you lose to Mayweather. Then the only person else you lost to was a bigger dude, so you kind of get a pass on that, right? So, you know, it would be very, 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 very impressive. Okay? But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Terence Crawford stating and revealing the only person that can beat him is him. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!